Welcome to History in Flames, where battles are remembered. Empires rise and fall, the past comes alive, and fire and ash. Subscribe and relive the stories that shaped the world. He was bold. He was brilliant. He was controversial. General George S. Patton, the man who terrified his enemies, inspired his troops, and left a legacy that still echoes through military history. But who was the man behind the legend? This is the story of the general who refused to wait for history. He charged at it. George Smith Patton Jr. was born on November 11, 1885, in San Gabriel, California. From a young age, he devoured stories of warriors, knights, and conquerors. He idolized men like Alexander the Great and Napoleon Bonaparte and dreamed of glory. Patton wasn't just another soldier in the making. He was a boy who believed he was destined for greatness. He attended the Virginia Military Institute and later the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. But he struggled with academics, especially reading. He was believed to be dyslexic. Still, his sheer determination pushed him through. By the time he graduated, Patton had already set his eyes on a new weapon of war: tanks. During World War I, Patton saw his chance to make history. He joined the newly formed U.S. Tank Corps and became one of America's very first tank commanders. He fought in France, leading from the front, even being wounded in combat. Patton realized that tanks could change the future of warfare if used boldly. When the war ended, the world forgot about tanks, but Patton didn't. Through the 1920s and 1930s, he trained, studied, and preached the future of armored warfare. When World War II began, Patton was ready. His reputation as a hard-driving, aggressive leader caught the Army's attention, and soon, his tanks would roll into history. In November 1942, American forces landed in North Africa, Operation Torch. Patton was sent to bring order to chaos. The U.S. Army was inexperienced, untested, and badly beaten by German General Erwin Rommel at Kasserine Pass. Patton changed everything. He drilled his men hard. Discipline, clean uniforms. No excuses, Americans, he told them. Play to win, all the time. I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a man who lost and laughed. In a field hospital, Patton slapped 2 soldiers suffering from battle fatigue, calling them cowards. News reached the press. Outrage followed. Patton was forced to apologize, and he was quietly sidelined. In 1944, as the Allies planned D-Day, Patton's image was both a liability and a weapon. The Germans feared him. They believed Patton would lead the invasion. The Allies used this to their advantage, creating a fake First U.S. Army group, under Patton's name, feeding false information to the Germans. On June 6, 1944, D-Day came. Patton was still on the sidelines, but not for long. Weeks later, he was unleashed as commander of the U.S. Third Army. What followed was one of the fastest, most aggressive military advances in history. Patton tanks ripped through France, liberated towns, and captured thousands of German soldiers. He didn't just advance, he thundered forward, refusing to slow down. Advance and keep moving, he told his men. And don't stop until you take a breath at the enemy's throat. In December 1944, the Germans launched one last desperate offensive, the Battle of the Bulge. American forces were surrounded at Bastogne. Cut off in the freezing Neth, Patton did the impossible. He turned his entire army 90 degrees in the middle of winter and marched them hundreds of miles in just days. By Christmas, his tanks smashed through German lines and relieved Bastogne. His speed, his aggression, his refusal to stop saved thousands of lives. By early 1945, Patton's Third Army was tearing into Germany. They liberated concentration camps, freed prisoners, and shattered the last of the Wehrmacht. For Patton, the war wasn't moving fast enough. He even wanted to push into Czechoslovakia and beyond. But the war was ending, and Patton's enemies weren't on the battlefield anymore. They were in politics. In December 1945, months after victory, Patton's life ended suddenly, not in battle, but in a car crash in occupied Germany. The warrior was gone. The legend remained. Patton was a man of contradictions. He was a genius and a troublemaker, a hero in a controversy. His speeches were fiery, his temper explosive, his belief in victory absolute. Oh, his soldiers. He was old blood and guts. To his enemies, he was terror on tracks. Patton once said, "Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way." And that's exactly how he lived and how he fought. George S. Patton, the man who refused to wait for history. He charged at it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more. Share your thoughts below.